Good morning, little garden kitten. What are we gonna do today? Good morning, friends. It's Lindy from Small Town Garden Life. Today is a super exciting day because we are finally planting the garden. She's excited about it if you can't tell. So it is May 2nd, and this time last year I had already had my garden planted for a whole week, but the weather got a little bit cold and it stunted some of my warm weather crops like tomatoes and peppers. So this year I decided to wait. Now there are a few days in my forecast in the 40s, so it's questionable if I should plant, but we're gonna be getting some rain next week and I don't feel like waiting for the soil to dry out again. So I am just gonna take the risk. It is 80 degrees today in Illinois and I live on the border of zone 5B and zone 6A. So typically after May, it's a normal time for us to start planting the garden. So one thing that I really like to do before I do my garden is have a general idea of where I'm going to put everything. Now, if you ask my husband, he would swear to you that I never have a plan and I just throw things wherever I want them to go, but that is not the truth. So I'm gonna show you my little garden planner. You do not have to be this extra. Trust me, you can just write it down on a piece of paper. But I had some extra time, so I figured why not make this cute little garden planner. So I have laid out all of my rows and roughly how many plants I am planning on putting in each row. So I'm gonna take this out to the garden with us and we are gonna till it up, and then after we do that, I'm gonna follow this roughly, probably not to a T, and I'm gonna get all my plants in the ground. So if this is something you're interested in, follow us out to the garden and let's get it planted. So our garden is 40 feet by 70 feet, and then we do have 6 raised beds on the outside. So these are the raised beds, and then this is the main part of the garden. Now we have a barn right here that does keep this area partly shaded. So this year I decided to put all of my cold weather crops here. So I have broccoli, I have cauliflower, cabbage, peas. These are all things that like a little bit of shade and like cooler weather, so I'm hoping that they thrive in this location. I have a cattle panel trellis here that I grew gourds on last year and it was absolutely gorgeous. No pun intended. So I'm gonna do gourds and then also some noodle beans here. I'm gonna leave this open for a little walkway. And then I've got 3 rows of tomatoes planned, a whole bunch of summer squash. This year I'm doing my first cut flower garden, so I've got a whole bunch of those planned out. Some peppers, a whole row of carrots. 2 more cattle panel trellises are getting added this year, and that is where cucumbers and cucamelons are gonna go. And then I am doing a whole bunch of watermelons, cantaloupe, pumpkins, and ornamental squash. So I've got a lot planned, and I am expecting 2 little twin boys in August, so I'm hoping that I can manage all of this, but I don't want to set my expectations too high because chances are it's going to be a lot of work. So let's go out to the garden and we'll get it tilled up and then we will get all of this planted. If you guys ever notice me sounding really out of breath in videos, there's not something wrong with me. It's just because I'm 6 months pregnant with twin boys. So everything that I do is just slightly harder, but I am not complaining. I am so excited and I feel really blessed to be able to bring these 2 babies into the world. So I'm gonna do a little baby bump preview just for my own remembrance. But this is at 24.5 weeks. And these little babies are growing every day and I am feeling amazing. So I'm hoping that I can continue to garden up to my due date. Now, ask me in like a month or 2 when I've doubled in size and I might not feel the same way. But for now, everything's great. Ooh, my guy is already out here getting the garden ready. This is what the garden looks like before we get it planted. So I do have cold weather crop stuff already planted there, but the rest of it we are going to get tilled and planted today. Also, don't mind this little ham. I think his favorite activity is being in the garden. We have our other helper, Dee, over there too. What are you doing, you little pitty? So my plan is to do each of our rows about 2 feet apart. I'm gonna get a tape measure and actually measure and then put up some stakes. That way we have a general idea of where each row is going. And then I always like to lay out my plants and count how many I have and do my markers before. That way I make sure I know exactly what one is which, because last year I didn't do that and it was just like a mystery all year long what type of plant was going to come from each one. So was I going to get like a banana pepper? Was I going to get a bell pepper, a Roma tomato, a beefsteak tomato? So it just makes your life a little bit easier if you label your plants right when you plant them. So learn from my mistakes and definitely do that. Last year I was really bad at labeling my plants, so this year I am determined I'm not going to make the same mistake. So I picked up just a bulk thing of jumbo popsicle sticks and I'm going to label with a permanent marker, and hopefully that will keep me from mistaking what plant is what. Oh my gosh, 5 hours later and we are pretty much done. We do have to add 2 cattle panel trellises still and plant some cucumbers, and then I have like some random herbs that I want to plant, but overall we're almost done and I cannot be happier because I am exhausted. So I'm going to take you around and show you a tour of what we planted so that way we can see how it progresses throughout the year. All right, so walking into our garden, I have all my cool weather crops planted over here because it does get a little bit shaded. So those have been planted for a few weeks. I still have a few things that I need to plant over here, but I am so stinking tired that it's just gonna have to wait. So I have some snap peas in those raised beds. I have some gladiolas here, and then I have dahlias right here. This year we decided to do our tomatoes with these metal poles. So I'm gonna paint all of those white and then I will trellis my tomatoes up as they grow. Over here on this cattle panel trellis, I did have gourds, but I have made the decision I'm not gonna do gourds, which if any of you know me, you know that this is wild because I'm obsessed with gourds. But I think I'm gonna do Kajari melons and climbing pole beans. Since I am pregnant, I think it's gonna be impossible to do beans with a huge belly without them being pole beans. So I'm gonna do that. I have some marigolds planted just right in front of the tomatoes because they are good for tomatoes. They keep away pests. So I have them just right in front of each of these poles. And then if you come this way, I have a row of peppers and then another row of peppers right beside it. Now, just a little tidbit, we do water our garden with a sprinkler. Ideally, that is not the best situation because they all get water from the top and it can cause some damage. But we garden on such a large scale that it would be impossible to put drip tubing in here. We talked about maybe doing some raised beds in here next year. I don't know. We'll see if it happens. So next to the peppers, I have some zucchini, squash. Now, a few of them I started inside, but a few of them I just direct sowed, which means I put the seed just right in the ground. So those germinate really fast. Those will probably pop up within the next week. And then this is the start of my cut flower garden. So I have Bells of Ireland, which have been the death of me. So if they grow, you guys, this is seriously a huge accomplishment for me. And then I have straw flowers, and I've never grown these before, but I am super excited about those. And then I have some Bright Light Cosmos after that. And then if you come this way, I have a whole assortment of zinnias because they are my absolute favorites. So I have zinnias, then I have some Bleeding Hearts amaranth, and then I have some asters after that. And then next to that, I have an entire row dedicated to just different variety of sunflowers. I literally emptied every packet that I had and just put it in my hand and scattered it. So I'm excited to see how that turns out. So next to the sunflowers, I have 3 empty rows. This is where we are gonna add 2 new cattle panel trellises. And on those, I am gonna grow cucumbers, and I'm also gonna grow some red noodle beans. So that'll be a fun little addition. And then I might tuck in like some radishes or some carrots or something in between that can handle a little bit of shade. And then if you go this way, I have a whole row of carrots. Then I have some glass gem corn and some Indian corn. And then the very back of this, which is about, I don't know, 10 feet probably, I am making my melon patch. So I have cantaloupe, I have watermelon, and then I have Moon and Stars watermelon. And then eventually I will also plant some pumpkins back here, but you're not supposed to start pumpkins until like late May, early June. So I'm gonna wait to do that. But overall, this space is going to change so much, and I'm excited to see what it turns into. Every year it's just so fun creating a new design and kind of seeing your vision come to life. So it's gonna be fun to look back on this video and see what it looked like. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed our planting and a tour of our garden. I think it's gonna progress a lot in the next month or two, and I'm really excited to see what it turns into. So I will keep you updated. If this is something that you like, make sure that you subscribe to my channel. Hit the notification bell so that way every time I upload a new video, you guys know. Check out my Instagram. It's just Small Town Garden Life. I post daily tips and tricks on gardening, motherhood, DIY projects, and all sorts of good stuff. So, until the next video.